Hey there everybody, it's Cosmo the Coder here and welcome to another of my Humble Bundle reviews. This week we're looking at the Humble Tycoon Simulator bundle. Last bundle of November, last because it finishes tomorrow, but this kind of obviously suggests a very sort of, I suppose sort of businessy simulation sort of kind of bundle, and we're not too far from the actual truth. So let's have a quick look and see what they have on offer. Straight up then, pay what you want for 3 games. First up is Train Simulator 2016, and if it loads, there we go. Now, I can't tell you much more about this game from a Steam standpoint, so there's how much it costs and what the reviews are, because the actual entry on the store no longer exists. Now, before you start panicking, if you do panic, what this actually means is that instead of the 2016 game, the 2017 has replaced it on the storefront. That doesn't mean you can't still get the game, the 2016 game. It just means that I can't tell you anything from the outside without actually purchasing the game, or purchasing the bundle and getting the game and putting it onto Steam myself. I can't actually, without looking on the outside, I can't see anything other sort of price-wise or review-wise. In general though, it is pretty much what it sounds like. It's a game where you basically get to pilot various trains and carrying cargo and sort of undertaking various sort of objectives, and you basically get to travel around the country, I assume sort of American country and everything like that, and travel around in various weathers and sort of just be a train driver. If that's your kind of sort of want in life, then fair enough. Not really one for me, but that's just how I feel about it. It looks pretty good based on the video and general sort of feeling. I sort of had to look at the Metacritic sort of stuff. So generally speaking, it's a well-received game and it doesn't have any sort of huge problems. But in general, it is what it is. You know, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Sorry, that's about as good as I can do in the circumstances. Roller Coaster Tycoon Deluxe, and I wish my email thing would stop doing that. Is this sort of not the old sort of classic game that sort of released pretty much at the turn of the century? It's sort of a sort of theme park, but more technical. You do get the deluxe edition, which does contain sort of the 2 expansion packs that were released later on in the sort of life cycle of the game. But this is the first and original sort of Roller Coaster Tycoon. There is Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 and 3, but that's not part of this game. So in general, you pretty much get the general idea. You get to build a theme park and design roller coasters, water slides, monorails, you name it, it's in this kind of game. And you also get to sort of design and build your own park and sort of take on all the technical aspects of it. Next up we have Out of the Park 17, which is basically a baseball league simulation game. Now its official sort of tagline is that it's actually now officially licensed by the MLB and the MLBPA, whatever, I'm assuming they're sort of the Major League Baseball associations, and that's pretty much as much my understanding is. It's basically as you can see, a sort of very technical management game based on baseball, which there is obviously a following in the UK, but it's not really something that I would really be interested in any kind of capacity. But it's got good reviews, £15 on Steam, $20 on for the US, on so many of my words. Good reviews, 95% recently, 90% overall, and 92% on Metacritic. So definitely a very sort of specialized kind of game. If you're into baseball at all, then that's what it is. I realised I didn't tell you how much Roller Coaster Tycoon was. I'll actually put that back up again a second. Here we go. It's actually $4.79 on Steam, or $6. And good reviews, 94% recently and overall. Right, moving on then. The green tier is 3 more games. These get a bit sort of, well, bear with me. Democracy 3 is it's kind of not sort of, it's sort of a sort of, it's kind of a simulation game, but it involves more a political sort of system. It's sort of how would you run the country. sort of thing. And it's basically I suppose the best sort of explanation of it is it simulates the whole sort of government or parliament, if you want to call it that, and the desires of everyone in the country. And basically you have to sort of use it to sort of influence them to vote for you and to support you. And you have to sort of deal with issues like crime, unemployment, national debt, terrorism, climate change, all that kind of stuff, and try and sort of run your country or whatever it is better than, say, people in real life. It's supposed to be quite good in terms of the reviews are fairly good. 78% recently, 77% overall, and 70% on Metacritic. It's currently £23 on Steam. I can't really give you the US price because this is the collector's edition, so it includes some of the DLC. And I haven't been able to get a price. I wasn't able to get a price in US for the actual collector's edition because it actually changes the price if you pay for the collector's edition. And unfortunately, SteamDB.info didn't give me much information of that, but roughly about $30 worth of game there. It's, if you're interested in governmental sort of stuff, that might be quite up your street. I don't know. Car Mechanic Simulator 2015 is pretty much what it says on the tin. It's basically a game where you run your own sort of garage, and you sort of deal with auto repairs, take on different sort of missions and repair cars, buy and sell used cars or rust buckets and try and do them up and make money and anything. So it's a kind of a goal-orientated sort of simulation game, which I imagine pretty much all of them are, in order to give you the sort of the feel or the need to actually play them. Price is about £15 on Steam, $20. Good reviews, 94% recently, 92% overall. Metacritic's more sort of low end, sort of average, sort of 68%. But then I think the reviews on Steam are more made by people who are actually enthusiasts, or people who actually are interested in engines or auto mechanics, whatever you want to call them. It is what it is. It's, again, if you're interested in sort of repairing cars or engines or anything else like that, then it's right up your street. Otherwise, it's not really one for me. But that's just my opinion. Big Pharma, when I click on it, there we go. Big Pharma is about £19 on Steam. I couldn't get a US price because according to SteamDB.info, it's currently on sale, which it isn't for me, so I can't really sort of say that what it is precisely, but I imagine it's about $25 roughly, giving the rough translation of pounds to dollars and how Steam tends to sort of work. Anyway, it's basically a game where you run your own pharmaceutical company, and you have to sort of choose between, do you charge a lot of money, do you develop drugs and charge a lot of money for them? Do you start with developing much needed medications and sort of not worry too much about profit, or so on and so forth. So it basically is sort of a management system that you have to sort of take into consideration different aspects of running a pharmaceutical company. You have to pay the bills, but at the same time, do you charge an astronomical amount for a very important medicine? It comes down to sort of things like that. Review-wise, pretty good. 84% recently, 78% overall, 72% on Metacritic. The general sort of feeling is that the game doesn't really have that many. It's hard to find the moral choices, if you want to sort of. They're not sort of very apparent. It's more sort of business-like. You have to sort of be more sort of thinking about the numbers than anything. But it's in general, it's not terribly received, but it has its issues, shall we say. Again, price-wise, I couldn't find the US price because it's still claiming that this was on sale when it wasn't for me, but it was about £19, so again, about $25, maybe 26, 27, depending on your sort of thought process. Finally then, the blue tier, which will net you an early access game called YouTuber's Life, which thankfully has nothing to do with PewDiePie. And yes, I am talking about that mobile game. It's basically what I'm doing right now, in a sense. You basically take on a simulation of being a YouTuber and have to sort of make your own sort of video channel, videos, edit them, put them on the sort of pretend YouTube, get followers, get make more videos and so on and so forth, become popular, become powerful, whatever you want to call it, and in general just do what lots of people are doing on YouTube. Well, I say lots of people, certain people on YouTube are doing in terms of that. It is an early access game, so bear in mind that the sort of system, the things that you're seeing may or may not change. It's $10.99 on Steam. Again, the US price was, well, SteamDB.info was claiming it's a sale, so about $15. Review-wise, 82% recently, 81% overall. People think it's quite fun, and if you were sort of interested in becoming a YouTuber and didn't want to fork out for the microphone and equipment and actually bother editing the videos, I mean, I sort of edit them sometimes, maybe on occasion, but in general, it's a pretty good game for what it is, and it might be quite good fun. Who knows? You might actually enjoy being a YouTuber. Now, there is no extension, as you can see, which seems to be the theme in general for the last few weeks in the bundle. Well, the last few bundles anyway. They're not sort of doing the to be extended next week. Whether or not that's the sort of how it's going to be for the future, difficult to say. But because Humble don't really sort of tell you much about that. You've got another week's left on the staff picks bundle. By all means, check out my video about that. But let's have a quick look at what do I think about this bundle. Now, the problem I got with this bundle is that it's a simulation games, and there's nothing wrong with simulation games whatsoever. The problem is, and it's kind of like what I mentioned about, if I actually go back to the staff picks bundle, what I mentioned about the TIS 100 game is that it might be a good game, but unless you're actually sort of interested in the sort of type of game that it is, or what it simulates, you're not really going to be wanting to play it. I'm a programmer, and as a programmer, the TIS 100 game does interest me. I might struggle with the language and stuff like that, but I have the sort of the thought process and the knowledge to sort of be able to jump into it fairly easily. If you're someone who doesn't have that kind of knowledge, you might not necessarily be interested in it. I mean, you can sort of say that about sort of Train Simulator and Out of the Park, baseball. If you've got no interest in trains or baseball, then those two games are pretty much pointless to you. The same could go for Car Mechanics Simulator 2015. It might be a good way of learning about cars, but then do you have the sort of the desire to go out and learn about them, at least from a game, or even in real life? So it kind of sort of it divides people in terms, because if it's such a simulation sort of esque bundle, you're kind of sort of saying, are you interested in doing that kind of thing? And if you are you interested in doing it for real or in simulation? The other games are kind of in the same sort of basket. Roller Coaster Tycoon, are you interested in fun fairs and everything like that? If anything, out of all of them, YouTuber's Life and Roller Coaster Tycoon seems to be have the most sort of fun aspect in terms of games of this bundle. Democracy 3 sounds very serious, sort of thought processes about politics and how to sort of deal with voters and make people vote for you. Big Pharma sort of is another sort of management sort of very serious version of Theme Hospital, but it sort of adds more complexity to that. So overall, it's a good bundle in terms of what you're getting for money. It's a good bundle in terms of that you're getting some games that are well received, but it's a bad bundle because it's very sort of specialized. It's very sort of it's very specific to one genre, and although it does diversify in that genre, you've got trains, you've got baseball, you've got cars and everything else like that, it's still quite limited in what it is. Now, when I kind of review these things, I kind of try and be sort of diplomatic and say not just what I think about the bundle. I mean, I'm not going to buy it in all seriousness, because it's got little to no interest for me whatsoever. But like I said, it's good in terms of games and money. So I'm kind of torn between 6 and 7. So I'll give it a 6.5. There you go. That's roughly fair. You know, it's good for what it is, and if you're interested in any of the games, then by all means go for it. But in general, I'm not necessarily impressed. But that's just me, and that's how I feel. So there you go. And that pretty much is it for me. Just to let you know, Humble Monthly does come out on Friday. It is the first Friday of December, this Friday. Run up to Christmas, guys. So the last one this year, I will be reviewing that on Saturday. Hopefully, fingers crossed, as long as nothing untoward happens. Thanks for watching my videos. Like and subscribe for more stuff from me, and you know, in general, bundle reviews and games. I'm now off to go and see if the internet's exploded thanks to Final Fantasy 15 and try Watch Dogs 2 on PC. Not that anyone cares, because they're going to be watching Final Fantasy 15. What was I going to say? Nope, that's it. YouTube should now be showing you 2 options. The one on the left should be a video that they think you'll be interested in, and the one on the right is probably my most recent upload, whatever that's going to be. It could be anything depending on when you're watching this, because there's quite a few things I've got to publish in the next few days. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time for more reviews. Happy gaming!